So it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm in the Pacific Ocean under a cloud-filled sky, attempting to complete the third leg of the Triple Crown of open water swimming, the Catalina Channel. I stop at a regular interval to refuel, and suddenly, things aren't going so well. So the real question is, to start, is how did I get here? And I learned to do what I did through a series of steps that I wanted to share with you that maybe you could use if you're trying to pursue something or overcome adversity. Initially, it started with zero interest on my part. I took three swim lessons as a kid, so my parents would let me work on a lobster boat. No swim team for me as a child. 21 years later, I entered a pool to try lap swimming so I could compete in a triathlon. And like most triathletes, I hated the swim. I did go on and complete 3 or so half Ironman distance triathlons and a few open water swims, but I gave it up because I was never comfortable in the pool, let alone the open water, and I lost interest in it. And after a 4-year hiatus, I tried swimming one winter again, and it came with incredible ease. It was effortless all of a sudden. I could feel everything, no work whatsoever. And this is what I call the awareness phase. It was because I had been practicing Pilates for a number of years, and Pilates taught me the awareness of and the ability to control my core and postural muscles. And that translated very well into my swimming posture. From here, I needed a goal. I had to test myself, so I set my sights on the Mount Everest of open water swims, the English Channel, a 21-mile swim. But I realized that I still needed a lot to learn, and I rapidly went into skill acquisition mode. I sought advice from many mentors around the globe. I wanted to understand tidal flows and swell and currents and how they influenced each other. I needed to understand how the weather impacted open bodies of water and how wind direction and wind speed interacted with the swell and the tidal flow in my direction of swimming at any given time, at any given possible combination of conditions. I also wanted to understand about marine biology. Yeah. I wanted to understand whose house I was actually swimming in. Right? And I needed a really good strategy on how to quiet the fear of swimming in the dark. I had to be able to endure 12 plus hours of swimming in 60 to 65 degree water without a wetsuit. And this was relatively easy, a little combination of acclimatized swimming and a steady diet of Reese's peanut butter cups and Boston Lager. And I was able to put on a few pounds to help out with that. I also needed a team I could trust and put my faith in. In this sport, your team are your eyes, your ears, your brain, your source of motivation, your source of fuel. They are your everything in this sport. There's no I in solo open water swimming. So I set a date with the English Channel in July of 2014. And training was going really good until about 13 weeks prior to my swim, where I fell off my roof and severely fractured my foot. 5 screws and 5 weeks later, the doctors told me that I could return to swimming, but I wasn't allowed to bear any weight on my foot, as that part of physical therapy wasn't scheduled till much after my English Channel swim. So I was committed. I believed I could do it. I did. And so with just a little over 7 weeks to go, with the help of my family, my friends, and my team, and even strangers who came to my aid on the beach, I went back to finish my training, crawling in and out of the water to give myself a chance. So finally, over in the UK, I entered the channel. And as soon as I get away from the wind shadow of England, the winds kick up, 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds, 8-foot seas for the rest of the day. But I knew I could do it, despite the foot, despite the conditions. And after 10 hours and 50 minutes, I crawled onto the rocky shore of France, completing the English Channel. Now, thanks. Now, this is going to sound really crazy, but I thought it was a fluke. All the drama, the screws, the crawling. So to prove to myself that I wasn't a one-hit wonder, I set a new goal, and that was to complete the Triple Crown of open water swimming by adding a 28.5-mile swim around Manhattan Island, and a 20.2-mile swim from Catalina Island to the Southern California coast. So it's June of 2015 now, and I enter the East River. This is a current-assisted swim the entire way, influenced by tidal flows at different points and strong river flows. But timing is everything on this swim. I entered the swim takes you on the East River, up the Harlem River, and then down the Hudson around Battery Park and back up halfway up the East River to finish. My swim was quick, and I ended up having to stop in Brooklyn for 15 minutes just to wait for the East River current to change so I could go back into the flow to have a shot at finishing. So after 21 miles, I had to stop. My muscles started the seizing up process. They thought they were done for the day. My body temperature slowly starts to drop because I'm not generating heat anymore. But I knew that once I started to swim again, all of my preparations would come out just as I had planned, and I ultimately finished the lap in 7 hours and 15 minutes. So now, it's August of 2016. It's 1:30 in the morning, under a cloud-filled sky, and I'm in the Catalina Channel. And suddenly, things aren't going so well. I stopped to fuel at a regular interval, and my support kayak has become disabled and needs to be repaired on the power safety boat that I had hired for my trip. So thanks to Steven Spielberg and the Discovery Channel, my biggest fears ram into my head like the triple crown of all fears. Great white sharks in their house in the middle of the night. So I had a choice to make. I could wait for the repair, or I could swim on. I could choose to be a sitting duck, or I could choose to be a moving duck. So I chose to quiet that fear and to swim on alone until the boats caught up with me. So finally, approaching the finish, the waves thrashed me on shore at my landing spot. And finally, standing up after 9 hours and 12 minutes, I look at myself and I now have an open wound on my elbow and cuts across my rib cage. So my fear-quieting training did not envision chumming the waters at all. And I had a short swim back to the safety boat, but I chose again to quiet the fear and to be a moving duck, a quiet, efficient, moving duck. And after a short swim, I found the security of that ladder and climbed back on board, safe, a little scraped up, but no rest for the weary. A few months later, the international swim community informed me that I was the first person from the state of New Hampshire to complete the Triple Crown. And that my debut swim times put me as 10th fastest in the history of the Triple Crown. Hang on. That didn't last very long. Right? Just fast forward a year, and I've already been eclipsed off that list, no problem. But my story isn't about the lists. My story is about what I learned. So what is it that you fear? Or what's keeping you from holding you back from doing something? Maybe it's changing careers, moving across the country, starting a family, or maybe signing up for your first marathon. Maybe you could try what I did. Start with your strengths. And if you think about it, we all have strengths, right? At least one. You have a strength because you overcame something to get that strength. So when it comes to adversity, you've already been down that path of having to push yourself and overcome. So believe in that. And set goals to test yourself, as lofty as you want. Goals that build off of one another, deliver a stronger belief in that strength you have, and that'll give you the courage to try to push yourself a little bit further the next time. Anticipate obstacles as much as you can. What challenges will you be faced on your journey, and prepare for them, because it's the preparation that will minimize adversity on your journey. And lastly, I'll leave you with a couple of things. Believe to succeed. Believe in yourself, believe in your preparations, and believe that other people around you believe in you, and that you might be the last person to believe in you. And lastly, be a moving duck. Keep driving, keep swimming, keep pushing on, but be a moving duck. Thank you very much.